Actually, I really do want to get into that. We can talk a little bit more about, your size and your lifetime PRs and stuff and how it all came together. But what I'm curious about is where and when did you make this decision to actually go for this thing? And then how did you go about developing the ability to do this, developing the capacity?
Yeah. So for one, I just want everybody to know that, like, yes, I had been a little bit more specifically training for this for about 10 weeks, but like this was like 10 plus years of work in the making. And it's accumulation of my background and the people that I've surrounded myself with. And it just kind of the constant work ethic. And so it wasn't just 10 weeks and I could do this. And I also wasn't starting at like a 7-minute mile and a 350-pound back squat. Like I was fairly close on both of them. So I do just want people to realize that, first of all. But
Yeah, so you're not going to release like the 10 weeks to the 505 program.
people are interested in that programming and what I basically added to my training. So I think I will put that out there. I'm almost wrapped that up. I actually hit this 2 weeks early than I was planning on for the programming. So people are actually following my real-time programming a week behind. So I do have to program 2 more weeks, or I might put in like 2 early weeks just to like build a base. But to answer your question, I guess it pops into my head maybe, I heard about it in Dave Castro's book. And I think actually the first time I heard about this was in my level 1, and that was like 8 years ago. That's the first time I heard anything of, the balance between, a power lifter who can squat 1,000 pounds and a marathon runner who can run a sub 2-minute marathon. And we want to try to be right in the middle. And then Dave Castro released in his book that statement that developing a test of a mile run and the back squat and the whole concept of the 5 and 5. And so actually 2 years ago, I attempted this and I attempted to train for this. I'm not sure if anybody remembers that, but I hashtagged 459 500. Dave Castro actually threw a story up and called me out. So I was like, oh crap, I got to do this. And I failed, right? So I trained and I probably did too much volume, especially on the running side for my body weight. And I got some bad plantar fasciitis. I got injured and I had to shut down my training. So I got to like a 517 and a 500-pound squat then. So that was 2 years ago.
That's you know what? No, that's very pedestrian, Adam. That's not good at all.
Well, here's my story. So I feel like I have a rare combination of, I have a background playing college sports. I played soccer in college. Granted, I was a goalkeeper, but we were still held to the same standards for the fitness tests. And quite honestly, once you get to that level, the goalkeepers are more fit than field players, whether you realize that or not. But so I've had that background in the running. So I've always had good endurance. I've always been one of the fittest kids on my soccer team when I played. And then just the being around people like the Smith brothers who have that work ethic, and we lift all the time. And Ben and I, throughout the years, we've had different races with each other to hit. So you can be the first to 500, and it was who could be the first to 550. And so I've had that weird combination of that strength and endurance, especially in my lower body, being a soccer player. And I just have always kind of in the back of my head had this feeling like, man, I think I can do this. And I really didn't do this to prove anything to anybody. Like I wouldn't have cared if somebody had done it before me, or I just wanted to do it for me and prove to myself that my body could do something like that.
So tell me a little bit about the training involved here. I had a buddy of mine, to put this in context, one of the reasons why I'm asking this specifically is a buddy of mine is, an athletic freak. He's like super, super strong and he's super fit, like D1 collegiate guy, like near pro, but friends with like a ton of pro athletes. And he messaged me after, the video came out that you did this. And he was like, this guy is a mutant. Like this is an unbelievable, like people are saying that other like professional athletes can do this. There's no way that they could do it. This guy's a mutant. And if you tell me that he just like added 2 days of running into his programming, I'm going to throw myself off a bridge or something.
No, it was more than 2 days of running, I promise. But yeah, I can talk about that a little bit. So I knew from the first time I did this that I had to limit my volume a little bit, just because I think at my body weight, I weighed myself when I did it, I was 216 pounds. Just the impact of the running, and if I'm running 3 times a week on top of squatting, it's just a lot on my joints, my knees, my ankles, my feet. So I have, he's a member of the gym. He ran for Virginia Tech. His name is Rick Burrow. He actually helped me with programming my track workouts, because I mean, I could do it, but I honestly liked following somebody with a little bit more experience, right? You always seek out people who are better than you, and, hopefully you'll follow. But so I divided my running into 3 days, and there were 3 different type of runs. So the first run every week was a 20-minute tempo run. It was 20 minutes every time. That was it. And I think the first time I did that tempo run, I held an 8-minute pace and held that for the whole time. And by the end of 10 weeks, I was doing that holding a 6:45 pace for 20 minutes. So
Wow.
that was just something capacity wise that I just kept working on. So every time I tried to shave like 10 to 15 seconds off my pace, and I built that up over time. So that was just kind of laying the foundation. It was, anywhere from 2.5 to almost 3 miles, but not so much where it was putting me into the ground. So I would always have to take at least a day in between my running just to give myself time to recover. So my second session would be a road interval. So not on a track, just run around the gym and in the neighborhoods. They probably thought I was crazy. They saw me multiple times a week, but it would be like harder intervals. So it would start with like a 5-minute jog as a warm up. And then it would be something to the extent where it was work and then rest, whether it be 30 seconds, 1 minute, or 2 minutes, kind of those time domains where I would have, like, for example, it would be something like 3 sets of 2 minutes hard, 1 minute rest, 1 minute hard, 30 seconds rest, 30 seconds hard, 2 minutes rest. And it was like maybe 2.5 miles of hard running, and that was it. And then my third session a week would be a track workout. I would go there. Rick would meet me at the track, and again, warm up, do some strides, but it was fast running. So there was 800s and less, and everything was at or below that 5-minute mile pace. So again, the volume wasn't anything crazy. I wasn't going out and running 5, 6, 7, 10 miles at a time. I already had the endurance, and not just from running. Like, you gain endurance from just doing CrossFit workouts, and that's how I train. And so I had a good base to start with. But I think the thing that people are going to lose in this is the intensity that I trained and ran at. I mean, I was working up towards 95 to 100% effort on the majority of these runs. And it's one thing to go out and run 20 minutes to go run 20 minutes. It's another thing to be uncomfortable and pushing the tempo, or, literally trying to shave seconds off 400s when you're training in track workouts. So I think the intensity aspect of my training is what's hard to replicate.
What was the turning point? Because I know you gave this a shot a couple weeks ago, and you were just shy of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just shy. It was like you ran another, like a 5:12?
Around a 5:12. Yep.
So, what was the turning point in the past couple weeks where, you realized, all right, I think I've got this. I can take, 20 seconds off or 15 seconds off my time.
So it was funny. It was, sorry, my dog was barking.
Oh, it's all good.
It actually was going to be, I was going to retest in 4 weeks. So that was kind of like a midway, 2/3 of the way, like just test. I wanted to run like a good effort mile at like a 90% effort. I wanted to be able to walk away from the mile and feel okay and feel like I had a little bit more. And that went a little better than expected. So two more weeks come. Actually, a week goes by, and I'm like starting to fall apart, and my plantar fasciitis is coming back. And it's not an excuse. It's just I couldn't train. I felt that I wasn't going to be able to train at that intensity for another 4 or 5 weeks, however long I needed to. So I felt that with another good week of training, I decided to use a pacer, which I'm actually surprised nobody's ragged me for that. But I felt that but in my head, I'm like, that's no different than Dane running behind me for the mile that we did, right? So I used a pacer, and I thought the combination of, again, those 2 more weeks of training, I did some really hard running those 2 weeks. And I got to that weekend, and I said to myself, I'm either going to do this or I'm going to shut down training again, because I'm just not sure how, like, I'm doing more damage to my body right now I'm helping. So like a few days before, I hate needles. I got dry needled. I was doing things that I wouldn't normally do just to be able to perform. And it all kind of came together, between my nutrition and how I was staying hydrated and how my body was feeling. I got there that day and I said, there's not going to be a better time. So I went for it.
Folks, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see even more clippy goodness, hit one of the links on the screen right now. And if you want to see the video that clip just originated from, link is in the description below. Hope you guys check some more stuff out while you're here. Enjoy. I will see you very, very soon. Take care.